today, and I'd first like to recognise the Darwin people, the custodians of the land, particularly in Wollondilly. It gives me great pleasure to speak with their support here today for koala protection in Wollondilly and New South Wales. Here today we have a support of a wide variety of political parties and independents. I thank the government members for their support, particularly the Deputy Chair of the committee, my friend Sally Quinnell, the member for Camden. And we have upper and lower house members, Liberals, Labor, Greens, Legalised Cannabis Party, Animal Justice Party of course, and I thank Emma for her invitation to have our new Parliamentary Friends group link and coincide with the wider Parliamentary Friends of Animals group. While yesterday we saw support for the Greater Koala National Park, it did not cover the whole of New South Wales, and especially my koala population. Koalas aren't a member of any political party. They can't lobby a major party for support. And I've learnt to get anything done in this place, we need to actually be unified. That is why this Parliamentary Friends Group aims to give members of the New South Wales Parliament the opportunity to celebrate, understand and promote koala protection and preservation in New South Wales from all the threats. This group will host events supported by experts in the field, site visits and engagements with experts on rehabilitation and preservation. And I thank the Minister Penny Sharpe MLC for her long-term support on this matter. When I was Mayor, I gathered thousands of signatures, 13,000 signatures for a petition that I delivered to Parliament to be debated here. And the speeches were as short as some of our procedural discussions of just a few minutes. It was heartbreaking. But there's good news. The group is supported already by a number of experts that I've spoken to, including WWF, and I thank Dr. Stuart Blanch for his expertise, as well as Saul Deane for his long-term support and commitment for koala preservation corridors. I hope to change the standard of reports and debate from this place with this support. We should never have the case, as we have in the past, where the documents that are released with translocation or relocation are stated more than preservation. I also acknowledge the various groups and people who are committed to koala preservation locally in my area. Before we go to some of the other speakers, I'd like to share some little facts about the species we're trying to save. Koalas, from the Darug word, mean no water. While they don't drink water very much, they have 2 thumbs. And most interestingly, they have very unique fingerprints that are really hard to discern from human fingerprints. They're almost the same as ours. They sleep for 22 hours a day, which sounds like a good thing. And many of them suffer from chlamydia, except in the Wollondilly, where we have the largest growing chlamydia-free koala population. Thank you to all the members who've given their support for this committee, including Sally Quinnell, Kelly Sloan, Greg Warren, Leslie Williams, Kate Farraman, Tamara Smith, Trish Doyle, Emma Hurst, Jeremy Buckingham, Liesl Tisch, Julia Finn, Anna Watson, Marianne Stuart and Michael Reagan. And there are others that are coming on board as they hear about it. So thank you everyone, and I would really like to just ask Sally here if she'd like to say a few words. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to support the creation of the Parliamentary Friends of Koala Group. I think it is very important that we work towards preserving our very important koala populations, particularly our very important chlamydia-free group, and make sure that we are giving the people who cannot, the animals that cannot speak up for themselves but are a very integral and important part of who we are as Australians. It's important that we make sure that they are protected and looked after. And I thank the member for Wollondilly for bringing this up and inviting me to be on board. And I'm extremely excited to see the cross-party lines that we have here supporting this group. So thank you very much to all of those people who've been involved in getting this up and running.
Thank you. Yeah, very quick. I know we're all in a hurry.
No, that's right. This is what we need for koalas to survive in the wild in New South Wales. They're currently on track to extinction by 2050 unless there's urgent action taken. And as Judy said, koalas are not political. They just live in our forests and we should look after them. And they live on the edges of our towns and they live actually within our suburbs. I don't think there is one person who doesn't feel the responsibility of making sure that we can save this iconic animal. If we cannot save koalas, the rest of the environment tasks that we have ahead of us really are already lost. No one wants to be responsible for telling our grandkids that koalas used to be in the wild in New South Wales and they are no longer. So this group is absolutely fantastic. Passionate people care deeply about this animal, but know that more broadly, this is a task that we have to take seriously. It's one that is urgent, and it's one that we're all up for.
Yeah.
Emma Hurst from the Animal Justice Party. I'm really excited about the Parliamentary Friends of Koalas. I've been chairing a group called the Parliamentary Friends of Animals. It's really important that we have our own special group for koalas though. As the Minister said, we're looking at a potential extinction of these very iconic native Australian animals. We've now got a really important opportunity. We've actually got a Minister for Environment in Minister Sharpe who is dedicated to actually making sure that we ensure that koalas are protected now and into the future, that we make sure that we actually ensure koalas don't go extinct. So it's really important that we have this Parliamentary Friends group to work with the Minister to make sure that urgent action is taken to be able to protect koalas now and into the future.
I'm just going to ask Stuart and then Saul to say some words. I know everybody's in a hurry today.
Well, this day is a day of hope for koalas. I often think politicians are a bit like koalas, cute and cuddly on the outside, including everyone here, but you've got to be tough to survive. Koalas are tough animals. If we protect their trees, we keep our houses out of their buffer zones, we give them a safe climate, they can not only survive but thrive. And I really want to acknowledge Penny Sharpe's leadership on koalas in bringing people together and trying to work with her cabinet colleagues and across the parliament to find solutions to these very difficult, challenging, expensive problems for koalas. You know, there is hope. 60 years ago, humpback whales were almost extinct off the east coast. Today there are 40,000 migrating up the north coast, and that's great for our community, it's great for our economy, it's great for the whales. The politicians of today need to do for koalas what the politicians 60 years ago did for whales. This gives me real hope that koalas don't have to go extinct, that they can actually survive. And I actually think this group shows that there is a koala vote. And if you at home don't see your politicians stand behind us, call them and say you need to join the Parliamentary Friends of Koalas. Thank you.
Thank you, very quickly. Thank you. Sue Higginson, Greens MP. It is just so fantastic that we do have a parliament that is listening and can hear the voices of koalas that are coming through this suite of MPs. What we know though is that it's a tough job. We've got some really tough decisions to make. The reason we're in this predicament is because our current environment and planning laws across the state have enabled and facilitate the destruction of koala habitat. And let's be real, it's the destruction of koala habitat that has put koalas on the trajectory of becoming extinct by 2050. So it is absolutely true when we say we need courage and we also need strategic approaches to our planning and environmental legal system to turn this around. We've got to plant trees to restore habitat, but fundamentally, we've got to do everything we can to stop the removal of koala habitat, which means taking out their trees right now until we see these amazing little animals, the Aussie icon, bounce back to recovery so that the trajectory is turned around. And I'm so excited about this term of Parliament. Now we have a strong support and backing these incredible members of the community on the ground who are on the front lines every day of trying to protect koalas, and we're standing with them and we'll continue walking with them to the recovery of our koalas.
I just say what a friend the koalas have found in Judith Hannon.
Yeah.
It's just been fantastic that she's been able to bring together friends of the koalas across the parliamentary community, which is a group that we've needed for a long time. And if the koalas knew, I'm sure they'd be incredibly happy about that. And I just to reiterate what Sue Higginson was saying before, this is a spatial and a planning issue. What we know is that Sydney has a koala belt, and that koala belt is actually where koalas have been thriving and engaging with each other and moving across the landscape. And it's right down in the far southwest of Sydney, where Judith Hannan is, that we see that the koalas are thriving because they don't have chlamydia and their numbers are coming back, which is something that we haven't seen. Unfortunately, across the state, we're seeing those numbers start to disappear, and now even in Campbelltown, because they haven't been enforcing proper koala protections, we're starting to see them slowly disappear too. And we can't let this happen. What we have to realise that as we cross the koala belt, we enter into koala country, and therefore we need to prioritise koalas and their habitat, because we're moving into their space. And that means that we need to have large koala reserves between where the Georges and the Nepean River, which is part of the koala belt. We need big and large zoning issues, and we need generous koala corridors of about 400 metres across our creeks and rivers on the outskirts of Sydney. Thank you.